Hi everybody, my name's John Lacey. We were going to do some holiday streaming tips with Sam Proof, and I don't know where Sam is, but hopefully he'll be joining us shortly. But I hope you've had a great week and a great year as we head to the pointy end of the year. I hope you take a little bit of time to enjoy some time out. But we did want to talk today about actually some ideas for some possible holiday streams. So, um, you know, and it's entirely up to you as a creator whether you want to actually create more content or if you want to take some downtime. That's totally up to you. And I would sort of encourage you to prioritize a little bit of self-care along the way. But if you are interested in doing a holiday stream, some of the ideas that we had included, streaming the setup of your Christmas tree, preparing holiday recipes, wrapping presents or even unwrapping presents. It's just another fun take on the unboxing video. A themed advent calendar of some description, and you can show off your decorations or light displays. So again, my colleague, my co-host Sam Proof, who's not actually here at the moment, he did actually write an article about some holiday live streaming ideas. So we're going to unpack some of those, and I hope he joins us at some point today. But if not, I guess I'll be winging it. Again, we're broadcasting out to all of the places today. We don't normally do this live. So if you are watching live, hit me up in the chat. I'd love to hear where you're coming from and, what your Christmas plans are, as an individual and perhaps as a content creator as well. So I'd love to hear that if you are out and about. It is very early in the morning here in Australia, and I do have my coffee. People that know me will know that I'm all about the coffee, and I do have the coffee and content live stream happening a little bit later on today. But before we get there, let's talk about some tips for successful holiday live streaming. So the first tip, plan ahead and be organized. So it's really important that you know what you're actually hoping to achieve and how it will actually work. So it's a good idea to get your thoughts down either electronically or on paper. Think about the scenes that you want to set. How you actually interact with your audience, and some of the technical constraints as well. So are you streaming via OBS Studio, or some other technology? Are using a service like Restream to get sent out to a whole bunch of different destinations? Those are some great options to get started. But it's really important that you sort of think about, what you'll actually be doing and how you want your audience to interact with you as you go. I'm just going to drink some more coffee, but it's nearly Christmas. Let's enjoy some more music. All right, let's talk about tip number 2. So engage with your audience. This is really important. And Sam would often talk about, if you're not going to engage with your audience, why are you going live in the first place? It could just be a pre-recorded video at that point. So how will you actually interact with the audience? What sort of things will you be doing? What questions will you be asking? What opportunities will you give them to actually reflect on their own experiences and share that with people in the chat? And I'm just going to read a little bit from Sam's article. He writes, in addition to engaging with your audience through comments and interactions, you can also use on-screen prompts or overlays to encourage viewers to follow you on social media or sign up for email updates. By building a strong connection with your audience, you can create a loyal following and set the stage for future live streams. Definitely some great ideas in there. And by the way, if you do want to see this article that Sam's written, you can go to samproof.tv/SC, which stands for Streamers Corner. Okay. So tip number 3, promote your live stream beforehand. So it's always a good idea to have a bit of build up to the event itself. You want people to know that it's coming. You want people to be able to actually sign up. and participate as they can. It will depend a little bit on the individual platforms that you're working with, but certainly there are opportunities to let people know ahead of time. And, especially if you are going to involve some audience participation, if you can let them know ahead of time what that might actually look like, and what you would like them to do. Maybe you want people to dress up in festive outfits, or wear a Christmas sweater or something like that. That could be a great opportunity to get them involved as well. So this is an interesting time because it's an interesting time of year because for some people, they'll actually have a little bit more downtime than they normally do, and other people will probably step away from their phones and computers much more than they usually do. So, and either is fine. I'm a big advocate of just deciding what's right for you and sticking to that. But if you do have some spare time, tip number four might be worthwhile, experimenting with different formats and content. People that know me probably realize that I had to be dragged kicking and screaming to vertical video, things like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. But I dipped my toe in this year, and I am actually finding quite fun that sort of shorter video time constraint and working in the vertical platform, the vertical format is actually quite fun. It's an interesting creative constraint, so I've really been enjoying that. But is there something that you've been sort of interested in actually exploring this year that maybe you haven't had a chance to try out? And again, I'll just read a little bit from Sam's article again. So he writes, so don't be afraid to try out new things and mix things up during your holiday live streams. With a little creativity and experimentation, you can create enjoyable and memorable content that your audience will love. So, is there something that you've been wanting to try or do differently? If you do have a little bit of spare time this holiday season, it's probably the time to check it out. All right, let's talk about tip number five. Collaborate with creators in your niche. So this is a great opportunity. I think it's important to sort of identify people who really are at your level content wise. You don't, if you've got 3 followers and you're reaching out to someone with 10,000, that's probably not a good match. You really want to find somebody who is a peer. But if you identify those people and start building relationships with those people, it can be a really wonderful way of, actually creating new things that would not have otherwise existed. So that's a really great way of doing it. I think, and some of the potential benefits that Sam's noted are the access to new audiences. So by teaming up with someone who has a different following, you can expose your work to a whole new group of people who may not have discovered you on their own. Is an opportunity to learn and grow. Collaborating with others can be a great way to learn new skills and techniques, as well as gain insights into different creative processes. I love that. And thirdly, a chance to create something unique. When 2 or more creators come together, the result can be something that is truly original and one of a kind. This can be especially rewarding for creators who are who are looking to try something new or to push their boundaries. So I think it's really important when you do reach out to potential collaborators that you have a good sense of what you want to do. That you're not just saying, "Hey, do you want to do a collab?" Give them some detail, set some expectations about what you want from them, what you're going to do for them, and what the final product would look like. And I think one great thing is like if you can take 2 different angles at the same subject matter and have one video exist on one person's channel, and the other one on the other person's channel, or do slightly different variations on the theme across maybe a live stream or two, that can be really fun too. So it's just about thinking about what could work well for both of you. So it's really about finding those things that complement both of your skill sets and your interests and your personalities, and just really looking for opportunities to explore those a little bit further. So my name's John Lacey, and this is we've been talking about some successful holiday live streaming tips. This was actually put together by Sam Proof who I was hoping would join me today, but obviously has been held up for some reason. But anyway, it is the festive season. We're gonna listen to a little bit more Christmas music, and I'm gonna drink a little bit more coffee. This is kind of what I do. Okay, so as I say, these we've been looking at five holiday streaming tips today, based on an article written by Sam Proof. And again, if you want to check that out, you can go to samproof.tv /SC, which stands for Streamers Corner. Okay, so I hope you do have a wonderful holiday out in the world. As I say, it's a great opportunity to create some content, but it's also a great opportunity to step back as well. So, if you do find that you really do need a break, we don't want you to push into burnout. We really want you to look after yourself and make sure that you do what you need to do to be okay. So make sure you keep that in mind. But if you do, maybe there's some fun opportunities. Maybe something about the holiday season makes you look at things differently. And maybe, some ribbons and some wrapping paper could be a source of inspiration for something. So that's, it's really important to think about what will actually help you and actually just move forward with that. So, my name's John Lacey, and we will be joined by Sam Proof. In fact, I can see him just arriving right now. So, hi,
Hey,
Sam.
hi John, how's it going?
Doing okay. How are you?
A little, oif. Sorry, a little rushed. We were doing a home project that went very long, tearing down a swing set so that we could put up a trampoline later. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I think I've just I've gone through your article already, but
Oh,
let's do it
jeez.
again because I think people are just arriving now too.
Okay.
So, um, yeah, so I guess first of all, we're going out to a whole bunch of different places. Sam and I usually have a weekly conversation about video and live streaming. We don't usually do it live. We're trying something new this week, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes and whether it's the way that we want to continue to do this. But I guess, Sam, in terms of holiday stream ideas, do you have any that you think might be worth exploring for people that
Um,
do want to do that?
yeah, of course. So tearing down a swing set, we should have done that live because then I'd know where we went. But no, when we talk about like holiday streams, I think there's a lot of ways to go. Obviously, all the sort of decorating that does come with, doing holidays, opening presents, wrapping presents. I've done that as a live stream. Um, we're not limited to just Christmas. You got the Hanukkah ceremony every night. You could be doing the lighting of the candles and the brucha, the prayer, or Kwanzaa and all of its things. There's I think an ample amount of things to be done that are holiday celebrations, and it's finding how that interacts with your audience and touches that audience, that makes it unique and worth live streaming. I think cooking streams are great. There's a world of recipes out there, and I think that's something people always look for. Um, and yeah, I mean, you could this day and age, you could be streaming from your phone. You could go caroling or show off your neighborhood's entire, the different houses of setups and decorations and things like that. So there's a world of holiday themed streams to be done.
Absolutely, and I must admit, I love the idea of live streaming the tearing down of the swing set. It just seems to be a really fun, and extremely relatable experience. I must admit, I have a lot of skills, but one of them is not putting together furniture.
Yeah.
If anything comes from IKEA, if I need an Allen key for anything, it's carnage. So I think on some level that might be hilarious to live stream at some point
Oh
if
yeah.
that pops up in my life again.
Self-deprecating failure is, I think, a very, very, very hot button topic, or like very potentially viral situation, uh, and repeatable as well.
Okay, cool. So we've actually got a question in the chat, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm just
Hey,
going to bring it up
Janine.
on the screen.
Yeah.
So, how do you keep the cam from bouncing around?
I assume this is more about the mobile. Obviously, if you're in a
Ah, of
situation like
course.
John and I are
Yes.
right now, we have tripods. I think we're both doing that for these cameras. But if you're on a mobile, and to make it less obvious that it's handheld, I wish my gimbal is inside. But there's a world of, relatively cheap gadgets that will give you a smoother experience, like like I said, a gimbal, or there are some handheld, almost like a steering wheel type device where you plug your camera into the middle, or your iPod in the middle, and then you have two-hand control over it to kind of keep it a little more stabilized.
And they're actually fairly inexpensive. Those
Oh yeah.
I've seen some for like $15. So and I guess the other thing too is if it really is something of the moment, I think your audience will probably be pretty forgiving of a little bit of motion anyway.
Yeah, I think with live streaming in general, people will forgo a lot of production quality issues as long as uh, the sound is good, not even amazing, but good, you know, and you're interacting with the chat. I think they'll forgive a lot of the visual elements. I've had streams go down multiple times, and people stick around for that fifth time where you're booting back up and like, hey, I'm back. You know, they'll deal with that part where you've walked too far and it's got to connect to a new cell phone tower, and in the meantime it's doing a slideshow instead of a video. So people are pretty forgiving about live streaming. When you take it to uploading a VOD after the fact to like YouTube, then you got to step your game up a little bit more for the video side of things.
Sure. Okay, so Sam, you've put together this article on 5 tips for successful holiday stream live streaming. So I thought we might unpack some of this. Let's start with your first tip. Tip number one: plan ahead and be organized, and maybe don't set up a swing set 10 minutes beforehand.
Or tear it down.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
so I mean that's literally the thing I was gonna say. Check your calendar every morning, get a to-do list. Yeah, planner. I think having a physical planner is great. I also do a lot of things on my Google Calendar. This I think we could talk about this one element of things. Probably all five of these tips could be their own shows, but you know this is almost like planning for, I don't know if you're an obsessive planner for travel as I am, but Amanda and I will make like a list of these are all the things I need to do to bring, and this is my itinerary. So you want to have a list of all the gear you're going to need for this particular event. You're going to want to have a breakdown of your pre-show, your show, and your post-show. So like, how am I promoting this? What days, what times am I promoting it? Here are the messages I've already created to pump out, or I've already scheduled them. Then during your show, these are the segments. I'm going to do a cold intro. I'm going to do an intro. I'm going to run a video. I'm going to talk to the chat. Now I'm going to do the thing that I was going to do. I'm going to cook the recipe. I'm going to take a moment in the middle of that to address questions. Then I'm going to come back to it because I'm putting stuff in the oven. Then we can sit down and do a Q&A for 25 minutes. And at the end, we're going to do the big reveal, show the thing, and cut it up, whatever it is. And then the post show, what you do with that footage afterwards, make a checklist of, I'm going to post to post the long form to YouTube. I'm going to make 3 shorts to YouTube, reels, TikToks, etc. So yeah, over planning is great. Go for it.
And
Do you have other things? Yeah.
I know I've said this to you before, Sam, but Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting has this habit of saying there's no such thing as too long, only too boring. And
Yep.
for me, I guess the other thing is just too unfocused. I really need people to decide on their topic and stick to it, and
Yeah.
not get too distracted by all the other things that could potentially come up in that time as well. So, that's a great thing. So I guess it's you think about your subject matter, your show, the run of show, essentially those segments that
Hmm.
you referred to, and the technology as well. The technology is huge. I must admit, it's relatively early on a Saturday morning here in Australia, and I booted my computer up maybe 10 minutes before we were to go live. And Microsoft keep doing this great thing where they're like, "Oh, stop everything and install Windows 11." And I'm like, "No, I don't have time for that." So sometimes you can't avoid those things, but it's a good idea to try and have everything up in order and be ready to go as soon as possible.
Definitely. Depending on where you're at with things, you should be doing a test show. Like I've done professional live streams, and we'll do the day before run through, and that is like you're hitting all the major beats. You're like doing, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to set up. These are the shots we're going to have. This is when we're going to talk about this and this and this. And you'll almost beat for beat run the show. Whereas, you're a personal person who plays like Fortnite all the time. You want to do something special. You're not working with a big team. Fine, but still maybe an hour before the stream, boot up, make sure you don't have that Microsoft update coming for exactly that reason.
And before we get to your second point, let's just check those comments for a second. So there are a few people
Sure.
saying hi, and I think they're all from your Twitch
Hey,
account
CG.
too.
Yep.
So
Looks like it.
um, hello everybody, out and about. Um, so it's good to see you out there. So our tip number two is actually engage with your audience. So what should we be doing to engage with our audience, Sam?
Right. So you talked about, not you can go too long, but just don't be too boring. This is where it comes in. You want to, as I've said, this is a house party. This is how I think of streams. It is a house party. You're the host. You're inviting everyone in. You want to engage with everyone. Everyone who comes in and says hi, you say hi back. Hey, CG, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. This is what we're doing. You're you're living in almost a loop because streams are like an ever-present thing where people can join at any time. So feel free to restate what's going on, where you are in that process, because for every person who comes in and says hi, 10 other people are just hanging out in the shadows being like, I mean, I'm here, but I don't feel like saying anything. So
Hmm.
streams are not a one-time experience. This is not the YouTube VOD. You're not up there going step by step directly through this thing. Take time to address the chat like we're doing. If you need to space it out, this is a very different experience doing a stream like this as opposed to the kitten cam chats where the minute somebody says something, I pretty much address it. Unless Amanda's talking, then she'll address it for 10 minutes and then we'll go back and try and get through all of the comments. Whereas a scenario like this, where it's kind of got a more educational aspect to it and we've got talking points, we'll take in the comments. We'll do a 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll go back to more comments and see what plays in. Um, that's loud sound. Let me keep that on my side. But yeah, you should be engaging both in reading the chat and addressing things, as well as whatever else you can do, depending on the platform, to make the stream more interactive.
Hmm.
Things like the kitten cam. We have an interactive switcher, which could be awesome for a cooking stream. If you got 4 different cameras, one for your face, one for in the oven, one for the counter, who knows? And let your chat decide what cameras to go. That's a great way to engage and interact. There's lots of chatbots out there that you can program with prompts. So if you're doing a cooking stream, have like a recipe command so they can do recipe. It'll throw the title up on the screen and it'll drop a link in the chat so they can click on that, go to your website and see the recipe in full. Anything like that. But yeah, even asking your chat, how can we engage better? That's great engagement. Polls and things like that. There you go.
And you've alluded to the kitten cam, so I think we should address it just for everybody's benefit. So if you don't already know, Sam and his wife Amanda, they run Cute Avalanche, which you can find over on twitch.tv/Cute Avalanche, and they have all kinds of adorable foster kittens that they're raising and raising money for that as well. So definitely check that out. Are you doing anything for particularly festive for the Cute Avalanche specifically, Sam? I haven't really had a
Yeah.
chance to catch up on that
Yeah, if
yet.
you want to talk about engagement and interactivity. So we're currently running Catmas, which is a full month-long semi-fundraising effort where we've decked the stream with like a Christmassy holiday scene. We've got a Catmas tree, so it's like a Christmas tree with a face and lights and tinsel, and there's a big frame and ornaments all across the frame. And there are channel point rewards, which is native to Twitch, basically buttons that you can, with a chatbot, program to do different things. So everyone on the Cute Avalanche can change the color of the tinsel, change the color of the lights. When they type messages in the chat using certain keywords or emotes, the face of the tree changes. There's also tree toppers, which feature things like Santa hats and bells and mistletoe, but also all of our house cats and Dova, who is the cat from our illustrator, Insomnia Doodles, who drew everything. Um, there's also a fundraising element to it where if you cheer 500 bits through the native Twitch platform, they will take over one of the ornaments with their user avatar. And if you donate $10 or more, Insomnia has offered to do a custom tree topper based on one of your cats. So we've done some of that as well. So
Wow.
yeah.
What one day we will need to do the chatbot deep dive because it blows my mind every
Mm-hmm.
time you tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could do that for months. There's so
Yes.
much to be done with those.
Okay. So tip number three, and again, possibly learn from it from my mistake. We haven't I think I only scheduled this a day or two ago, so we haven't
Sure.
had much runway in terms of promoting this particular session. But tip number three is to promote your live stream ahead of time. So
Definitely.
what do you recommend there, Sam?
I mean, obviously, this depends on how much free time you have and all of that kind of stuff, but you don't want to spread yourself too thin. You can't burn out. Don't push yourself to the point where it's like there's 27 different platforms out there. I'm going to do short form videos on all of these. I'm going to do social posts on Mastodon, Hive, Prost, and Twitter and blah 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 blah. Find 2 to 4 that you have the most following on. So you're not pushing yourself to the limit. Or get a service like Hootsuite that will let you push multiples to, different locations with one button, things like that. There's plenty of services like that. You can type something in one place and it will push it out to other places, much like we're using Restream to stream to different places. You do the same thing with social posts. But yeah, promote your stream. If you have the time for it, I suggest doing like a week in advance, a day in advance, an hour in advance, 10 minutes in advance. Boom. And then promoting the next stream on the back of the one you've just done is the same. You're like, hey, just did my Thursday stream, which I do at 1 p.m. See you next week. Here's this clip from this one. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. We sort of get back to the earlier tip of planning ahead and being organized. And like I used to be really bad at sort of almost making up the topic of my stream the day before, and now I schedule it out ahead of time. So at the end of that stream, I can not only tell you that I'll be streaming the same time next week, but I can tell you exactly what we're going to be looking at and covering. And that helps with creating thumbnails and scheduling and those social posts and everything. So it's really really helpful. And I guess especially one thing that I have found successful of late is if you're covering a particular subject and people are going to have questions about it, just make sure that they're aware that they can ask those questions even ahead of time. So
Yeah.
if they can't actually physically be there for the live stream, you can still sort of cover their questions, and that can be quite powerful because there's always things that people want to learn more about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one to curate questions prior to your stream. One of the things we do in the kitten cam is I start every intro with, this is why we're here is to answer questions. So please ask questions. But if we're not here because it's a 24-hour stream, in the channel points rewards, you can find a button that says save a question and put your question in there, and it'll queue it up in a big list, like a big document that we can look at in the next chat. So yeah, anything you can do. Also, that's just going to help you with production as well, because now you have something you can plan ahead. Like, I know I'm going to answer this question. That's great. And
Absolutely.
speaking of which,
Um,
I think we have some we should answer.
um, do we have questions?
I
I'm
think
seeing.
Janine had said
Okay.
something which I feel like goes with the last talking point. So I wouldn't mind addressing that. I have entered a chat one.
Okay. Cool. That one there. Yep. All right.
Yeah. So Janine, hi, says I think this is yeah. If she had followed this up with, I should have said a new chat. So I've entered a new chat with regulars. How they behave towards me really makes a difference. If I feel welcome or not, I think they can exclude without meaning to. Sure, I think that's a really important point. And having a chat with your your stream regulars and your mods to try and make that more a welcoming experience to new people. Keep in mind, you don't want to push it. Like if people show up and they're lurking and they're not interacting, don't single them out. Don't spotlight them. They're there to watch, and that's fine. Don't exclude them. Don't be like, oh, lurkers, get out of here. No, that is 80% of your audience, I guarantee. But yeah, if new people come in and they say stuff, be very welcoming. Explain what's going on. They're probably going to have questions that have been answered. So feel, please fill them in. I think that's a really good comment. Thank you, Janine.
Yeah, that's great. So again, I'll just give out the link to this article if you want to check it out. So this is 5 tips for successful holiday live streaming. So you can go to soundproof.tv /SC, which stands for Streamers Corner. So you can check that one out there. So Sam, this is kind of an interesting time of year because some people will have a lot more downtime than they normally do, and other people will probably step away from their computers and their phones more than they usually do. So
Sure.
it may be a good opportunity to try and experiment with some different formats and content types. So I know that you've been experimenting recently with your own online radio station. Maybe we should
Yeah.
start there.
Right. So yeah, not to promote this too much, but AMP, which is I honestly feel like we need to do another stream at some point of like things to look forward to in 2023, and I think AMP is one of those things that you should keep a close eye on. It is an Amazon project, so they're going to push it. It's all over my Instagram ads, and it is a mobile app that turns your phone into a live radio DJ experience. There's no video element, it is just radio. You log in, create your account, whatever, and if you want to be a listener, you're already set. You just swipe through, find whoever's playing music you like. There's a chat element to it. Great. And if you want to be a DJ, they have their catalog, their library of music that is available. It's copyrighted music, but you are able to use it as a radio station would. They even have like, oh, it's not a partner program. That's not the right, but it is a content bonus monetization program that is out there. But I don't know the specifics on that. I haven't made that yet. I think that's one to check for and keep an eye on. And it's an interesting way to do something outside of your platform and maybe cross promote, bring other people in. But yeah, like you said, the holidays are a weird time. Some people are going to be taking vacations. Some people are going to be hiding from their family and being like, now I'm here more than I would be. So this is a great time to play with different platforms, play with different formats. And it's the holidays. So like we said, as far as format goes, get off the Fortnite. Don't stop. Just get off and try something different. Try a cooking stream. Try a virtual tour of your neighborhood decorations and stuff like that. If you do any kind of music, do some music.
and I think people that know me will know that I had to be dragged sort of kicking and screaming to short form vertical video. But it is something that I've been dabbling with a little bit lately. So I am kind of really curious to see, what I can do with those constraints. And it's actually been kind of fun seeing what I can do in 15 to 60
Yeah.
seconds. So I guess, the other thing, and I'm kind of all about repurposing and remixing and repackaging content. So I sort of encourage people to go back through their library if you do have a library. And we need to talk about this in a future episode, but
Yeah.
you've got to have a library. You've got to have things organized. You've got to know where to find them. But,
Yeah.
is there an opportunity to go back and, either take segments out of a longer video or combine things from shorter videos or just change how they appear? Because my big thing is if something is worth saying once, then it's definitely worth saying more than once. So, whatever your key message is, you really should be sharing that and quite unapologetically. And it's funny because for the longest time, I felt a little bit self-conscious about doing that. And, it's like now on LinkedIn, every single day that I can, I'm posting about video and live streaming. And it's just become the thing that people have come to expect of me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm hoping to do a very, very short holiday video. It's just to get it out there and wish everybody, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, etc. But yeah, I think it's a great. It's if you've got the time, it's worth exploring things that might be interesting to you. And I think a lot of people have this great anxiety about what the next big thing is, and what you should be doing. And there's no guarantees in anything in life. I just think if something is of interesting, try it out, see how you go. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it again. No one's making you. So that's certainly something to explore there as well.
Yeah. I think that's definitely worth doing. First off, creating an archive that you have access to, that you can create VOD videos from or short videos from, and putting something out constantly. And it's something that I need to tell myself all the time, because I am totally that person that is like, well, if I already know it, everyone else must already know it. And that's not the case. That is just get out of that mindset. When you look at your analytics, 80, 90% of anyone who's seeing your content is not a subscriber. They're seeing it for the first time. You could repost that same video, unless it's gone super viral, and probably never hit the same eyeballs. You could repost that same video several times
Hmm.
and get new people. And I think that's, something that we all need to play with more, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. So a tip number 5, which is a great one, and I think it's really worth talking about this because it's so good. So collaborating with creators in your niche. So I guess sometimes it's tempting to think about other people doing similar things to us as competition rather than colleagues or potential collaborators. But I guess it's there's this great opportunity to bond over shared experiences and interests and share an audience potentially. So I guess how would you recommend people go about approaching somebody if they were interested in doing this?
Sure. I mean, this is great at any time of the year. If we put this under the umbrella of holidays, I think that gives you uh, a method to it, and that is the thing that you need for any collaboration. Is what is the product? What is it going to look like? You can't just be like, hey guys, I play Fortnite. I don't know why I'm picking on Fortnite so much, but I play Fortnite. Who wants to collab with me? What are we gonna do? We're gonna both stream on our channels and play Fortnite. Is that the thing? Is that it? I don't. You're asking for the collab. Come up with the idea. So when I've done stuff like this in the past, most of these were like video projects, but I would reach out to other YouTubers and be like, hey, I am doing a Christmas collab. It's going to be a lot of shortcuts, a lot of like almost one-liner bits, and I just want you to film this kind of a thing. you're baking cookies, or you're opening presents, these traditional holiday scenes, and then I'm going to cut them all together on my end. That's all you got to do is film like 20 seconds, something like that. It could be a much longer thing. You'd be like, hey, I'm going to be, we're both local. You're in Los Angeles. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm going to be cooking a big feast. I know you do a corn chowder. Will you come over and make that while I bake a ham? And we'll do it together on stream. Something like that. Have the idea, present the idea to them, and they're probably going to do it. But don't reach out to Ninja. He's a little busy, but find someone who's pretty much in the same space as you. There's roughly the same amount of viewers, same amount of followers, that kind of thing. And it's only going to help you both out.
And I guess that's a good point. Like they need to be a friend and they need to be a peer. Like you don't want to be, and I sort of mentioned earlier, you don't want to be the person with 3 subscribers reaching out to the person with 30,000 subscribers,
Yeah.
for example, because that's
Yeah.
probably a very hard sell. And I guess the other thing too is you just want to make sure that you're setting some clear expectations about what you need and what the final product will be, and where it lives, and what you're expecting of other
Yes.
people. Because you've said this before. It's like the worst thing you can do is just reach out and say, "Hey, you want to collab?" and provide no more detail.
It's akin to just walking up to a door and being like, "Hi." You say knock knock. like, yeah, that's the better example. Is you want to do a knock knock joke and you go, you say knock knock.
And it's funny because we've both been on YouTube for a really long time in one form or another. I keep coming. I feel really old, and I keep saying this over and over again. But like my first YouTube video went up 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because back then I think collaboration was perhaps a more celebrated part of the YouTube experience.
Yes.
We had video replies, and I know you've mentioned that there is a version of that with the stitches in the short YouTube shorts.
Mhm.
But I don't know, it'd be really nice to get back to a little bit more of that, I think.
Yeah. And I think that is part of why TikTok is so popular, is because it has that collaborative ability just built into it. You're not asking people if you can stitch their video or duet their video. That's just a thing you can do.
Hmm.
So if you come up with a really good sound bite, uh, you're going to get, a lot of responses, and that just builds up your audience as well as theirs. And I think that's great.
Nice. Okay, so we have had some comments, and it's funny. We are going out on Sam's Twitch account, and there's a whole lot of game bot stuff happening there,
Yeah.
which it's cracking me up every time I see it. Um, so I guess there was a comment here about maybe next time John can answer the same question. So I mean, I hope I've been chiming in with some responses, but I'm happy to do that more explicitly. So let's actually I'll just we'll go through them again, and I'll just take
Okay.
my take on them. And I guess Sam, if you've got questions of me, please feel free to ask them as we
Sure.
go. Um, so yeah, again, our tip number one was plan ahead and be organized, and this one is huge because I feel like the worst thing you can do is just you know, just hit live and go. I mean, for some people that's okay. Like it does depend a little bit on the type of stream you're doing. Sometimes it's literally just kicking back and chilling out and maybe playing a game, maybe just having some snacks. But I'm very much about teaching people how to do things. So I really want to make sure that that I've decided what I'm going to talk about, and I've got my points sort of ready to go. And I guess like of late, my coffee and content live stream, which will be happening later today as well, I've literally gone and written an article about the things that I want to cover, just so I can get a really good focus on what I do want to, the points I want to hit. And that's not to say that people can't sort of bring it into a different direction if we do have comments or questions that pop up. I'm very open to that. Sometimes I can answer those, and sometimes I have to be like, yeah, let's just come back to that another time. I sort of spoke. I was doing a thing on answering OBS Studio questions last week, and we did have a few questions that I one that I'd never about a plugin that I'd never heard of, and I probably need to go and do some research on that one. But the other one was really about doing multicam, and I said, look, I don't have time to do that today, but I'll make you a video about that because it's actually pretty straightforward.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's the thing about the live experience. It is very much about that collaboration. Although that said, I do find that it's really important to sort of hit your talking points, take a deep breath, and then address your audience. Especially if you're doing that with an intention of actually repurposing that content, because there's nothing worse than when you're mid sentence and then you're saying hi to somebody in the chat. Like you could cut it out. Maybe it's you could do that in a natural way, but I think it's a good idea just to tackle one of those things at a time.
Yeah, for sure. I think um, that's why planning it out is so important to know I'm going to do a stream that's going to have a segment and then a Q&A, or I'm going to do a stream that is constant chaos and I'm going to answer every question possible. And how can I do that and still get VOD content after the fact?
Absolutely, and Sam keeps referring to VOD content, which is just video on demand. So it's
Yeah,
it's pre-recorded essentially. But I thought I'd just mention that in case
yeah,
anybody
it's
was
good.
wondering.
Yeah, it's a good
Um,
clarification.
so tip number two was about engaging with your audience. So again, I do, yeah, and I'm going to keep referring to my weekly live stream because that's where I have the most experience. But certainly on coffee and content, I do like to ask people questions. And sometimes I have participation in the chat. Sometimes it's a little bit quiet. I'm fortunate enough to actually have the ability to bring some of those things onto the screen and talk about them further. But I think the other thing too is sometimes your audience is bigger than any given video or live stream. So like even reaching out to people in DMs and asking them questions. I knew that a friend of mine had some questions about OBS Studio, so I got them to send them to me ahead of time, which was amazing
Oh,
because I
that's
could
good.
plan and get that all ready. I must admit I haven't really done any of the bot integrations, the chat bot integrations that I know Sam's really into, and I'm really intrigued. Although I'm not sure how they would work for me specifically, but maybe that's something we can explore a little bit in the new year.
Definitely. Yeah, we could do a whole episode where we just set one up and see what makes sense. I think that's a good idea. I would do that live. I think that's a good live show.
Okay, cool. All right. So again, actually, before we get to the next one, I'll just remind everybody because I know there are some people joining us as we go. So we've been talking about Sam's article about 5 tips for successful holiday live streaming. You can check that out at samproof.tv/SC, which stands for Streamers Corner. Um, and I'm just sort of giving my own takes on some of these. We have discussed them a little bit. So promoting your live stream beforehand. So again, I think generally speaking, the more runway you can give an event, the more opportunities you have to build up a little bit of momentum. And it's funny, Sam sort of spoke about, promoting it like the day before, the hour before, 10 minutes before. And that works really great on some platforms. I do a lot on LinkedIn. And what I've come to discover is that LinkedIn really doesn't like me posting much more than once a day. So
Oh,
I've
really?
tried to be a little bit more deliberate about that. But what it essentially means is that for whatever content I'm posting during the week, I'll often include a comment on that post that says, "Oh, hi, by the way, we're doing this on Saturday my time. If you've got questions or whatever, let me know. Feel free to join, etc." But again, it's just about thinking about what your topics are, making sure that we'll get to the chat in a second. There's a lot going on. I'm a little distracted. Focus, John.
Pay no
Focus.
attention. Pay no attention.
So yeah, what were we even talking about? Promoting, yeah. So making sure that you have things like the thumbnail, the title, your talking points ahead of time, and it's a good idea just to tease some of those things. I say that as someone who produces educational material specifically. So if I've got 5 points, I might allude to 2 or 3 of them during the week in other forms of content. All right, so let's actually check out the chat because I know there's a lot happening there. So
Hey, Evan. Yeah, I'll take
So
this since
Evan
Evan
writes, "Hi,
Evan's been my
person I don't know
community.
yet. Hi, my name's John Lacey. And again, I don't know how many people actually know this, but Sam and I do. We have been having these weekly conversations about video and live streaming, and I must admit we've been doing that offline, and it takes me forever to edit the things, and I haven't got nearly as many up as I would like to have had up. But I mean, I'm hoping that maybe doing these live will help us in that regard as well. So
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, John is an old school YouTuber. He's been on YouTube as long as I have, circa 2005, something like that, maybe '06. We've both been constantly making content since then in both the video and live streaming form, and we decided to collaborate on this. And now we decided to collaborate on it and make videos about live streaming. Now we're going to do some live streams about live streaming.
it feels a little bit meta. It's funny. It's I'm just trying to remember. I think it was 2005 we first met. I guess Evan's
Yeah,
wondering who the hell I am, which is fair enough. And to be honest, I have an account on Twitch, but I don't really use it.
yeah.
So if you are pretty Twitch orientated, you probably never heard of me before, which is totally fair. I'm down with that. Um,
I think we covered that. I think it's been explained. Yeah, he's more on the YouTube, LinkedIn side of things, but we'll see more of John around.
So, I mean, I guess the other thing is obviously we've been pre-recording these conversations offline
Yeah,
and bringing them online. So, if and I don't think any of them have made it to Twitch before anyway. So, you know,
yeah,
we're just trying this out live. We'll see how we go if we're going to continue in this fashion. But I mean, I must admit, I've genuinely been having, it's been so great having conversations with Sam about all of the things about improvements to YouTube and the community features rolling out and things that I know nothing about, like chatbots, and just seeing the different ways that he approaches both his personal stuff and the cute Avalanche things as well. So, I mean, it's been amazing. Like it's honestly been a highlight of 2022 because I've kind of wanted to collaborate with people for forever, and like it's very difficult to get somebody that's able to carve out the time to do that on a regular basis. So I mean, I genuinely appreciate that.
cool.
All right, so I'm not even sure which one we were up to. Experimenting. Here we go. So
Yeah,
again,
sorry
Sam's written this great article. We've been talking about it. I just want to offer some of my own takes on some of these points as well. So
about that.
experimenting in different formats and content. So again, I kind of have mentioned this already, but if you're just joining us, I had to be dragged kicking and screaming to vertical video in that short format. But I've been playing with it of late, and I do find it fun. Like that constraint of the smaller time and the vertical format has been really interesting. I don't know what else I'm going to be maybe playing with this holiday season because I'm kind of, if I'm being honest, I'm kind of a fairly habitual person. If I find a workflow that works for me, I really want to stick to it and keep doing the same sort of things. Like obviously the content of the video should change, but otherwise, if I've got my processes if I've worked them out and I can reproduce them on a regular basis, that makes me pretty happy. But that said, I'm really curious to do more with vertical video.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to get into that, especially on YouTube. The amount that they're pushing things seems to outweigh the performance on like TikTok right now. Though also, I think Instagram Reels. Um, I think I suspect they're going to put a little more behind it in the coming year. Um, I did actually just side note on monetization. I joined on the Instagram Reels and joined their bonus program, and I have like nothing. I have like maybe 1,000 followers or whatever, which is just enough to get in. And they sent me like a $10, like guaranteed $10. Doesn't matter how many views you get, do this one thing. And I was like, meh, sure, I'll do that, whatever. So that's not a lot of money, but it's interesting that that program is so open. They're not like offering things to just the elites.
Instagram has changed so much this year, and it was really funny because I went to upload a video. I think it was a little bit over a minute and a half, and they were like, "No, you can't do this." And like the next week, I could upload 16-minute videos. So they've been changing stuff all the time, and I
Yeah.
don't think they've quite found their footing. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram because
Yeah.
it's so lifestyle orientated, and there are all these pretty people that make me feel bad about myself, and there are all these delicious looking recipes that are so far outside of my dietary constraints it's not even funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's the other point though, is these platforms are always constantly changing and evolving. So I mean, there are going to be new opportunities next year. Again, I sort of encourage people not to get too swept up in the FOMO because that can be a world of pain. But if something interests you and you want to check it out, by all means, do so.
Right. Yeah, I think Instagram is just the platform that's just trying to figure out what every other platform is doing right and copying it and not doing great. But but at the same time, it's got all that Facebook money behind it. So I think things are coming for them as well.
And I know people are very excited about being able to live stream to Instagram with third party tools. So I've been hearing so much about that in the last few weeks. So
Yeah.
again, like I don't have anything. If Instagram is your thing, I mean, no offense. It's just it's not my favorite thing. But
Yeah,
I
if you've
yeah.
got an audience there, utilize it, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, moving on to number 5.
So collaborate with creators in your niche. Yeah, and again, like I'd love to do more of this, and I think I'm probably just gonna have to ask more people next year because I really want to do it, but I'm kind of a bit reluctant to. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to hear the word no. So I sort of just hang around until someone says, "Hey, do you want to do blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "Sure." But I mean, certainly, I've appreciated this collaboration with Sam, and whatever form this sort of takes on in the future. I look forward to doing more of this. So yeah, it's a great opportunity, but again, I think you've got to nurture those relationships, and
Yeah.
just make sure that you've got a clear plan for how you want to approach this.
Yeah. Um, Gosh, I totally had a thought and then I read the chat and I lost it. Don't do that. No, I was going to say, I think uh, a quick and easy collab that is very low lift is like, hey, can I just do like a 20-minute interview with you? I think that would work well for what you're doing. Even what we're doing, we could bring a third person in easily for just interviews.
Hmm.
Um, and that's something I did a lot in the past as well, back in like the Stickam days. Didn't hurt that I had like the Stickam studio at my beck and call, that I could be like, meet me downtown at the tallest building in Los Angeles, and we'll go to the 72nd floor. Very fancy. But no, I had just as many people show up to my very crappy no bedroom apartment in the middle of Hollywood. And then 2 interviews there. So and now
And I guess obviously you can do a lot of this stuff remote, and
that's what I
the
was gonna
last
say.
few
Now
years of
everyone's used to being
yeah.
remote. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, outside of the time zone issues, and what do you know, my camera has just turned
I
itself
was
off.
just
So,
gonna
just give
say
me
you
one
just dropped
second.
out. Yeah. While you're doing that, Evan says, after 15 years, I haven't even been in a voice chat with Sam in Discord yet. I don't do voice chats on Discord, which I think it's because I do live streams. I don't know why I need to do a voice chat. But if there's a thing we can do to utilize voice chat on Discord, let me know and we'll do it. I have thought about doing like watch parties that way. Why not? It can be fun. Sure. Yeah. All right, John's back.
And I know I'm sure Evan will be very disappointed in me, but I literally just signed up for Discord yesterday, so I
Oh,
know
I'll have
nothing
to
about
send you.
Discord. So maybe that's another thing we need to talk about next year. Um,
Yeah, we should definitely do a community. I mean, maybe even just Discord as its own episode, but community management kind of episode for sure. You can see me for real once. Yeah.
All right, cool. So again, if you want to check out that article, you can head not to Kid Avalanche, although that's a great thing to do
Do
too,
that
because
too.
nothing's more festive than Catmas. But if you want to check out that article, you can head over to samproof.tv/SC, which is Streamers Corner, and you can learn more about that. So Sam, where can people find out more about you and watch your content, even beyond Twitch?
Sure, you can find a big list of links at samproof.tv/link list, and that'll show you all of the social media. For the most part, I'm Samproof everywhere. I do Twitch most frequently these days, but also my YouTube is a great place to find me, and you can talk to me on my Twitter or Discord.
Nice. And if you want to catch up with anything that I'm doing, you can head over to johnlacey.com. Got all the links to all the various places, and hopefully, we'll be able to do a few more of these sessions live. So, this will probably be the last time you and I talk before many of the holidays. So, Sam, happy Hanukkah. Enjoy Christmas.
Yeah,
Have
Merry
great.
Christmas, Happy
I've never
Holidays.
I'm never really sure if I should just say happy holidays or list 15 different celebrations, but
I,
you have
you know,
fun is the important thing.
Yes, back at you. You also do the fun. It doesn't really, you could say anything to be Christmas, Hanukkah. We do everything. Well, we don't do everything, but we do both. So that's all good. And happy
Awesome.
holidays to you, John, and
Thank
everyone in
you.
the chat.
And everyone in the chat,
Yeah,
especially over in Twitch. So
yeah,
again, we're hoping to do a few more of these live. So hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. But have a great time. If you do want to do a holiday stream, I hope you have fun with it. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
yeah. Thanks,
And my
everyone.
camera's gone again.
Okay. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Janine. Thanks, CG. I think that was everyone I knew. Janine, I know he does. All right, I'll see you guys on the kitten cam.